Hi guys, hi friends, and welcome back to Neville and Chat, where we chat about Neville Goddard and his teachings. Today for me is 127th day of me following and being committed to his teachings. And usually, as always, as it is usual for me, in the morning I feel the worst. I wake up and I am still in this old 3D reality that I have created in the past and that I don't like anymore. And you know what? I was trying to use this hypnagogic state in the morning when I wake up, and as usual, I try to meditate and do exercises, mental exercises in the morning. That seems to be very important, and sometimes when I have my kids here, I find it very hard to make in the hypnagogic state before going to sleep. So I try to use the mornings as strongly as possible. And so this morning I did something, in my view, very interesting. I said to use Neville, and I asked if I can get an answer, how to do it, how to trust in the law, because I cherish time. I think that time is the most important thing there is in our lives, so I try to make good use of time. And on the other hand, where else would we go? We only have who else would I follow or try to use? Who else is there? And so I asked Neville, and then I fell asleep again in the morning until 10. I'm on vacation, so I could sleep. So I woke up, I fall asleep again, and I remember that sleeping and feeling like the answer is actually in the trust, into believing, into believing and into trust, how to pay God for the things that you want. Caesar coins won't do it, clearly won't do it, because it is all part of the same creation. So I cannot use coins. The only thing that I can use is faith and trust. That is the only thing that I can pay to get what I want. Okay, so this seems interesting to me. And I then found out a video of Edward Art, who is great, by the way. So if you listen to this, I would advise you to listen to him too, because he has, I think, a deep understanding of the law and of Neville Goddard's teachings. And so I would like now to explore some great quotes that he has left, Neville, about trusting in the law. Okay? So this is from the Pearl of Great Price. This I have the pearl. I want to record that also, and I have to take time to do that. Okay? And so let's go with a quote from this lecture. Just imagine the end, and having pronounced his judgment based upon the end you have predetermined, do that. Live this way in the world, trusting 100% in the pearl of great price. May I tell you, It will not fail you, but you can't modify it. You can't hold back one little reserve thing. I'm speaking from experience. Not knowing that it was my own imagination that predicted accurately through the medium of the cards and the medium of the stars, I held back a little reserve note in my mind's eye when I found Christ. I would still have in my mind's eye my old horoscope, and I could quickly arrange its progression, and I would know the day and justify failure. For the rule of my second house in conflict with the rule of my sixth can't get the job. There's no money to it. So it's all there. It's all in my mind's eye. I had to completely give it up, so tear up my horoscope in my mind's eye, it doesn't exist. I had to completely destroy it as a power that guided me. But I held it because I successfully foretold events for unnumbered people in New York City. I had almost the entire metropolitan crowd, the entire Metropolitan Opera. They came to me. I so believed in what I did that I predicted with conviction it worked, and they were so sold on it. Then I had to have an experience one day to show me it was only my own intense belief in these little symbols that made them work. So here Neville tells us that believing is the secret. Believing is the secret sauce. And I can tell you that I had in the past these experiences using belief, but you have to really believe. It doesn't work if you try to convince yourself logically. And I've noticed that I'm changing the way I put myself into the energies of what I want. Like, really go into the energy of being that which I want to do. Then we have another one. It's from his name, written in 1963. As we are told in the 9th Psalm, the 10th verse, those who know thy name trust in thee. If they know the name. If they know that name, they will trust in thee, for that's your very being. A name is the individual himself. So God's name is I am, and that is God. If you know the name, well, trust in him. So tonight, if you know the name, believe it. Trust in his name. You listen as though you heard what you would hear were you now the man or woman that you want to be. And trust in his name. His name is I am. Well, who is hearing what you are hearing? Well, you are. And if I asked, you would say, I'm hearing it. Well, that's God. What is God in your hearing? I am, and you name it. Whatever you name, that's it. Now trust in his name, for those who know thy name trust in thee, for you will never forsake them. I remember speaking or feeling that sometimes I'm very moved by these words, I was never religious or anything and never searched for it, but I feel so moved by these statements. I feel them very deeply. Now, a quote from Neville and Down to the Potter's House. So, at the moment when you resolve to do it, to be successful in this world, or to be something in this world, other than what you are, at the moment of your resolution, reason denies it. Your senses deny it. But you resolve to do it. You are told to remain faithful to that resolution. If you remain faithful to it, trusting in your imagination, or trusting in your imaginal act as though it were fact, then it will externalize itself within your world. If you remain faithful to the imaginal act. So again, here we are called to trust it. To just trust it. To remain faithful to these ideas. Here is what we're called to do. To remain faithful. And it seems to me a very beautiful thing to do. From Grace versus Love. And he says, so I know from my own experience, if I use no effort, then it works. Not indifference. I don't mean indifference. I mean no effort. You accept it and you have such confidence in God that God cannot fail, and you simply accept it and say yes to the Father. Well, my work is simply to trust my imagination completely. Whenever I go to bed at night, the very last thought, just as I'm about to retire, I think of those I would like to help and those who have called upon me for help. And all I do is just think of them. I know my Father knows before I ask him what was asked of me. And so I think of them and I know exactly what they asked of me. I accept it completely that it's done. When it's going to be done, I don't know. And how it's going to be done, I still don't know. I only know I think of them, and thinking of them, I know what they asked of me. And that was enough. And I go sound asleep, completely oblivious of anything else. If I'm blessed that night with a vision, all to the good, a dream, all to the good, but the next day I don't think. I wonder if it works. I have complete confidence in my Father that it works. Whether they ever tell me or not, I really don't care. I'm not seeking credit. I'm not seeking praise from them. I really don't care. Well, when they do tell me, I can share it with you, and it encourages everyone who comes here to trust God. May I tell you again, God is your own wonderful human imagination. He's not on the outside. He's actually sunk in you as your wonderful human imagination. And then he cites William Blake. Man is all imagination and God is man, and exists in us and we in him. The eternal body of man is the imagination, and that is God himself. How beautiful. Trust it, believe it, and see how things work in this world. Then a quote from Have You Found Him? You take a total stranger, without his knowledge, without his consent, and bring him into your mind's eye and talk with him mentally. actually feel the reality of what you're doing, and then trust it. Trust it implicitly. In fact, faith is to hold God trustworthy. Alright, God is your own wonderful I amness. And as you begin to imagine that God's in action, hold Him trustworthy and see this thing actually move into the world and objectify itself in your world. If it proves itself in that manner, then you have found Him. So you can say, I have found Him. Not everyone finds Him because they were seeking Him, you know. Beautiful. And I'm thinking about that line of using without effort, of using our imagination without effort. That seems to be crucial, in my view. A quote from Spiritual States from 1965. So tonight you can fall asleep in a certain state. And when you feel the reality of the state in which you fall asleep, trust it. You're not going to find when you wake tomorrow morning that you're actually in that crystallized form, but trust it. Remember what you did, believe what you did, and then go through the night where you don't see any evidence to support it. You see nothing to encourage it, but you know what you did. A quote from Invisible Things, 1966. I simply single out that which I want to form into a meaningful word, and then send it. All I do is wait. Wait for the echo. Wait for the response. And it must come. I'm speaking from experience. It will come if you can sit here this night and shut out the obvious and carry on this conversation with yourself, communing only with self. And then, as you commune, you just say, is it done? It's done, and trust it implicitly. For faith is trusting God, holding God trustworthy. It's your own being, but you are seeing this world from a higher level. You're not seeing it here at all. You are seeing it from an entirely different world, a higher level altogether. You're seeing the thing done. You know, my friends, sometimes when I read these words, it moves me. I feel like crying sometimes, you know, of all this beautifulness of how can this really be true? So this is from another quote from Invisible Things. So I stand here and you tell me a horrible picture, but now I'm trying to arrange in my mind's eye the solution of that problem. If I can extract the solution of the picture you just painted, then I have him. For his name is Jesus. His name is to save. He is the Savior. Can I commune with myself and so trust this feeling that I can actually say to myself, I promise? How it is going to be done on this level, I do not know, but it will be done. I simply take a sentence implying the fulfillment of my dream, my desire, and having arranged it, I have the word, I have Jesus, I have found him. Now I send it. He will not return unto me void, but he must accomplish that which I purpose, and prosper in the thing for which I sent it. actually here I don't understand the idea expressed here of sending the word out. Maybe it's like not saying it with words, but saying it with feeling, to feel it. I don't know, but I hope to find it soon. Then we have a quote from Put on the Lord Jesus Christ. But I can tell you that a few years ago, William Blake, that great, wonderful, awakened giant in this world, he said to me, "We are separated in time by 150 years, but we are so tightly woven in the tapestry of thought, we are together in the tapestry of thought. But in time and space, he came into the world in 1757, and I came in it 1905. So he departed 100 years before I made my appearance. So we are in time and space widely separated, but not in the tapestry of thought, I assure you." So he said to me, "Fall backwards, Neville, just let yourself go. For your back, that's where the curtain is. Fall backwards." So here, the advice to you, my dear, was sound. To fall, and just beneath the very being that you really are. Now trust it implicitly. For we are now pushed out into the world of sense, and we think everything here is right. So I'm born in a certain state of life, and I think, well, I must remain here and make a tremendous physical effort to transcend it through education or meeting the right people, doing the right thing, and all these things I must do. Yet I hunger to transcend the limitation of birth, but everyone tells you you can't do it unless you first take this step and that step and that step. And I personally feel that strongly, deeply. They give you all the ways of that. Now I go back to the words he said. "My ways are not your ways, saith the Lord." Well, what are the ways of man? Knowing the right people, doing what is considered the right thing in order to get on in this world? Now, what is the Lord's way? He said, "I am the way." The way to what? Everything in this world, but specifically to the Father. Nevertheless, to everything in this world. Then a quote from Trusting God. "So I tell you, trust in God. If you trust Him, everything you desire will come to pass. Blessed is the man who delights in the law of the Lord. Tomorrow, money may not be the medium of exchange. It might be something else, so take the money. Whatever is the medium, I will simply assume that I have it to meet my needs, and it will come. So live by your complete trust in God. You will never go wrong if you trust Him, but know who He is. You don't go before any image and pray to it if you don't bow before anything. You know, I remembered now what I experienced in the morning, and I can tell you is that an interesting thing that came to my mind while I was doing it is that what if I can affirm what I want from there? For example, let's say that you are in a hospital and you want to be healthy, okay? And you close your eyes and you go home where you want to be, or you can go in a forest, and then you are in a forest because you are what you are inside. You're not the body, you are something deeper. And you go into the forest and you say, I am healthy, I am healthy, I am healthy, but you're not saying from here, but you're saying from there. And I wonder if this is something actually interesting. Or maybe let's say that you want to be in France, Paris, and you go in your imagination in Paris, and then you affirm in your mind's eye while you are in Paris, I am in Paris. Would that work? I don't know. And then let's continue with truths of concept known by feeling inspires. I ask you to try it. Take the most fantastic thing in this world. If I tell you tonight that, well, I don't know whether you have had it or not, don't for one moment, just because I do not know stops there. If you have that inner conviction, for the truth of any concept is known by the feeling of certainty which that conviction inspires. So if it doesn't inspire that conviction, well, then you haven't had it. If, on the other hand, it inspires that conviction, don't ask me to confirm it, because should I say I don't think so, what would it matter? It would be nothing to you if I'm not with you on it. So do not be disillusioned if I'm not with you, because it has not been my experience. So you take it from there and then go forward and trust this inner feeling. Because on this level it works. Well, if it works on this level, it will work in the depths of your own being. If I could climb a gangplank that is not visible, and while I'm climbing it, feeling that I'm actually doing it and watching all the things, and then put my hand on the rail and look with nostalgia towards the island that I'm leaving and the family that I'm leaving behind, and yet it's a peculiar feeling. I'm leaving them and I'm sad, and yet I'm happy in the going. I want to get back to my apartment in New York City, and therefore I've got to leave them. So there's a peculiar bittersweet in this feeling. I feel it so naturally. And suddenly the phone is ringing and the call is coming. I'm taking the next boat to get back just in time. So here I know from experience there is an actual time interval. That happened just like this, but I can tell you how to duplicate it. I only know that what I did. I arrived at the point of the feeling of a peculiar certainty, and that certainty was inspired. It was a peculiar inspiration, and it worked that way. I've had it not only for myself, but others time and time and time again. So you have a concept. The concept, is it true? Well, you can tell the truth of the concept by this technique. You can always tell the truth of a concept by that feeling of certainty which it inspires. So when I imagine that I am seeing the world as I would see it, where it as I desire it to be, so that I'm inspired, it's real, it's true, well then, it doesn't really matter what another thinks. What does it matter what he thinks or they think? I tell you it works that way, it will not fail you. So in this series, on the series of which I'm trying constantly to tell you which is the real thing, for if you just tonight own the world, you saw the headlines and heard the headlines, and this constant confusion tonight about gold, so what? But if tonight you want it, I don't care what it is, and the concept, you can contemplate it and so contemplate it that it seems to be real. So natural that it awakens within you that feeling of certainty it's real. Well, No power in this world can stop it. I can stop it. I can't stop it. If you look out for confirmation from others, then you're not doing it. Don't ask anyone if what you did is right or wrong. Did you do it? That's all. Beautiful. Then we have another quote from The Mystery of Imagination. If you could only test and trust, completely trust this inner being, one day you will. One day you will trust it. You will need no phone. You will be so intuitive, your every thought that radiates from a seeming other, for in the end you will know that all that you behold, though it appears without, it is within, in your imagination, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow. From William Blake. So I found these lines to be very inspiring. My voice is a little bit tired today, so maybe I will do another video in the afternoon, I don't know. But until that time, until next time, I'm blessing you. I'm giving you all my love, and let us trust. Let us just trust in the law and in what Neville is saying. Let's just do it, my friends. And so, until next time, I wish you all the best.